right, everybody, we're here at GenCon 2015. I'm here with Paul Winchester, lead developer for Imperial Assault.
Yep.
Paul, how is it going?
It's going great. We have our first national tournament right back there. I'm stepping away from judging to come and talk to everybody out here. So it's been a great year.
Well, thanks for joining us. Special privilege.
Absolutely.
Excited to ask you some questions about this phenomenal game. So first up, what is it like designing two games at the same time?
It's a challenge, but it's also really fun.
Yeah.
Especially because the guys who work on it, we have our different tendencies too. When I am playing games in my spare time, I'm probably a bit more of a casual storytelling kind of gamer. So my natural tendencies go towards the campaign. And then Todd, who I work with, is a very competitive player. He plays a lot of competitive Magic and is really into that scene. So his tendency is more towards the skirmish and that kind of way of doing things. So then we all really balance each other out, and we bring our perspectives and make sure that one isn't overbalancing the other in terms of its importance, because we both want each game. We all want both games to stand on their own as what they are meant to be, which is hard but worth it when we get it right.
Yeah, and I mean, we've even seen with the R2-D2 release that you have the two separate cards for the same model, because one of the abilities just doesn't make any sense in skirmish.
Well, right. I mean, you got to have R2 plug a terminal, right? R2-D2 plugs terminals. That's just what he does, and so that's what he's got to do. And terminals have different rules and different game modes. So we just said, bang, two cards, two abilities, so that he can be R2.
I totally dig it. All right, so you said the North American Championship's happening right now, right? Any surprises there?
No real surprises. It's going pretty well, and I think that we're seeing a few fringe lists. Definitely a lot of 4x4, like we talked about. 4x4 is doing well, but there's a couple variations on Vader's Fist. There's a couple Vader lists that are doing well, and I think there's a Rebel Sabs list that's punching through and surprising the Royal Guards with Blast and Pierce and all that. So
they definitely bring the goods.
Yes.
So you mentioned the 4x4. And I know this is an ongoing concern among players because it's a really powerful list.
Yes.
What's your take on the balance of the game? And I mean, even in regards to the recent rule change you announced that's going to be happening later this month.
So the rule change, the errata where you can pass if you're behind on activations, we think is going to have a really major impact on the future of the game. One of the things we were seeing is when you got an activation advantage, it wasn't just balance as in, I have more weaker guys versus your one stronger guy, which is how it's meant to be. It was, you don't even get to use your abilities. And so we think that this will make everybody's figures worth their points more and get it closer to where that was meant to be in the first place. And so we'll see a big shift in, I think, smaller lists and lists with the big beefy heroes and villains that we all love in Star Wars.
Which is really what you want on the table, not like a bunch of Royal Guards and officers.
But well, I think you want both. And
Absolutely.
I think one of the things we've seen is it doesn't necessarily swing the balance to the other direction, right? Where it's not, okay, now you have to out-activate your opponent to win. It doesn't become, okay, now you have to have just small groups of beefy guys to win.
Yeah.
You can do either.
Which is what you want.
Yeah, and so in our internal tests, we run the famous lists against, small groups, 3 activations even, and it can be competitive, So, 3.
What?
3 deployment cards.
I believe you. I'm just excited to try it. So, with that said, I mean, the game's young. There's not that much out for it yet. It's going to keep expanding and changing. Speaking of expanding and changing, how big of a deal is this next wave for both sides of the game?
Sure.
How much impact do you think this next wave is really going to have on the game?
You're talking about the Wookiee Warriors?
C-3PO. No, pre that. C-3PO, R2, Boba.
Sure.
The stormtrooper, I forget his name.
Heavy stormtroopers. Kane Somos.
Kane,
Heavy stormtroopers and Tusken Raiders.
Yep. How is that going to impact the game?
So I think it's going to change up a lot. I mean, plus the 2 new heroes for the Rebels. So the Rebels are starting to get even more unique guys and more unique individual abilities that can combo together, and you can start to see their combo strings. C-3PO and R2-D2 fill in chinks a little nicely,
Absolutely.
2 and 3 points. They fill in holes in squads in ways that maybe Rebels couldn't quite do yet, and the focus on 3PO is great. The Scum faction starts to get more generics with the Tusken Raiders and their big guy with Boba Fett. Boba Fett, their standard bearer, is here. And then Kane Somos just kind of adds some more variety. Like we said, we've seen a lot of officers, we're seeing a lot of Royal Guards, and then Kane Somos buffs your troopers, and so he's going to add a new flair to some trooper lists and hopefully give that a little bit more punch and just get some variety in the Imperial side of things.
Super cool. So of all the things coming out in that wave,
yeah,
which one do you think has the most impact? Not the best, but just like the
Sure.
most. Is it? I mean, it could be the Tusken, right? Like just giving a 5-point activation
the
to this
biggest game changer.
Saska's also pretty saucy
Saska's
with this.
fun. I love bringing in Boba Fett
Absolutely.
into Rebel. It is fun to do, but I gotta go with my man C-3PO. At 2 points, he fills that hole, and he can, if you play him right and keep him safe, he can do a lot of good work for your Rebel army.
Absolutely. All right. So you guys also here at GenCon, you announced Return to Hoth.
Yes.
So we have the Tusken on the Bantha and the other
Alliance Smuggler.
Yeah. In that kind of mini wave.
Yep.
Then you have Return to Hoth, which is this big box,
Yes.
right? Going to explode the campaign options.
Yeah, whole new campaign.
Whole new
campaign.
Like, whole new tree.
Absolutely. Yes.
Wild. A whole new tree. So that's just insanity. You also get a ton more models both for skirmish and for campaign. How big of a deal is that for the game? Like, I mean, obviously it's a big deal, but how exciting is that? What's going on?
I'm first of all, I'm just really excited that it is a whole new campaign on the campaign side of things, because a lot of the stuff we've been releasing, new side missions, and so now we've got 2 campaigns that you have the option to slot things into, right?
So good.
So that's awesome. And then just the new models, the new figures,
Look at Leia.
Yeah, Leia.
Come on.
Leia, Dengar on the back of the box. Again, just more of your the real bread and butter of what those factions do. And again, just continuing to define the essence of what those factions are capable of.
Totally. And these are like the foundational pieces to each of these factions,
yeah,
right?
And they just flesh it out, give you more options so you can see more mixing and matching. People start looking for combos now instead of just, okay, these are the best cards.
The best thing.
Now it's like find the best combos and find the most unique combos and try and mix your opponent up. Yeah.
So you have a whole new campaign setting coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
We talk a lot about balance in regards to skirmish, but how has it been? What's the reaction been, and how do you feel about the health and like balance of the campaign? Because I mean, that's a huge system design without any like thousands of people playing it out there to really give you some feedback. Now this is really round 2. So how do you feel about the balance of what you currently have in the campaign and even what we're looking forward to in the future?
The balance of the campaign, I'm not going to lie, is a tricky beast. It can be challenging because there are just so many variables. Agenda decks, class decks, the hero that you choose, the open groups you have available, what expansions you have. Are people going to pick up Twin Shadows? Are people going to pick up the Hired Guns reinforcement pack? And so there's all these different things that may or may not be going on at any given time. And so we just try and account for the average as much as possible, as well as the most extremes of what's possible, so that you don't get, even if you go off in a really weird direction, you're never getting a negative play experience. And so we obviously can't account for everything, but we try and get the ends and the middle, and I think that we're really hitting it. We're really starting to get a really good handle on what makes a really solid campaign mission that's just always going to go right down to the wire and feel really fun.
What you want.
Yeah, and so we've been getting some really good feedback, and it's feeling good. And so I'm really excited about the future of the campaign game. I think it's going to lead to just more and more of those exciting Star Wars narrative moments.
Awesome.
I'm jazzed about it.
I'm also jazzed as a player of the game. So speaking of exciting future moments, what is the thing in Imperial Assault as the developer that you are most looking forward to at this point?
Most looking forward to. I'm really excited for Return to Hoth to come out. I'm just going to say that.
It's crazy.
There's some really cool models in that, so I'll just plug that one more time. But one of the things that I say, it's hard to say what I'm most excited about because there's so many. Someone also asked me, what's the biggest challenge in Imperial Assault? And the thing is that there's so many cool things we can do.
When Star Wars.
Yeah, when we are just, when we look at a new expansion like Return to Hoth, it's so many things to do both in the Star Wars IP, but also just in the design space of the game. There's so many cool mechanics we want to try.
Started, right?
Exactly, and so we just have to cut down to what's going to make it the best overall product and choose the best of the good ideas. So in terms of what I'm excited about, I would say those best ideas coming out, and just continue, and the continual refinement of the system, and the missions getting tighter, and the balance of the skirmish game getting tighter, and the factions getting more defined, and the combos becoming what's exciting rather than just the best cards. So the continued refinement and the best of the good ideas getting funneled out to everybody who's playing. That's what makes me excited about the future of the game. I think it's going to be solid.
That's so good to hear. Paul, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for what you guys do. I really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you appreciating it. Hopefully we'll get a chance to sit down and catch up with you at Worlds.
Sounds good.
Maybe we'll have some more stuff out by then, and we can chat it up.
The pass rule will be in effect, and some new.
We'll see how that changes the game.
We'll see how that shakes up at Worlds. I'm really excited.
I'm really excited. Well, there you have it. Paul Winchester, lead developer, Imperial Assault. We'll catch you guys on more Gen Con videos. Thanks for watching.